Hello, this is After the Fact Editing Mia. I just want to apologize in advance for the episode being so choppy and my voice being so spliced up. I was a little bit frazzled. My mic came in way later than it should have been. I was supposed to record this during the day and I ended up recording it at night, and I was really tired and I cut way too much out because CapCut was not cooperating with me. But I promise I'm recording another episode in the morning, and I'm going to release 2 instead of just the 1 today because I feel bad. So yay, starting off on a high note. I'm so sorry in advance. It's still legible. It's just really annoying to listen to. Yeah, thank you. I'm Mia Astrel. This is my personal podcast about creepy early humans, ancient civilizations, and psychology, and how that has shaped who we are both individually and collectively as a society today. Now, something I want to talk about today is why we are so afraid of things in non-scary situations. Why are we afraid to have a limb dangling off the side of the bed in the middle of the night? Or why we're afraid of walking into a dark room or something being in a dark room when you know that there's nothing in there? Or even, why do we see things when we're stressed out or really tired? Why are we so hallucinatory as a species? So our fears today are just updated problems that early humans actually had to face and evolve with. This is the basic evolutionary psychology idea, that our brains have evolved in environments with predators, not just like apartments in suburbs. Fear is a survival tool. It kept ancestors from doing dumb, deadly things like walking into the dark alone or sleeping in exposed spots, essentially. We have the fear of the dark. Many researchers see fear of darkness as an evolved response to nighttime predators when humans were vulnerable. Yes. So humans, we lack night vision, essentially. And we are much easier to get when we're down and asleep, just like anything else. In the wild, many big predators like lions or big cat are more likely to attack at night. Studies of modern lion attacks in Tanzania show attacks rise after 6 p.m., which illustrates why night has historically been dangerous for humans. Big predators and big cats tend to have, I guess, a different circadian rhythm. They're very nocturnal. Humans are naturally nocturnal as well. We sleep in biphasic phases. The people that are up at 3 o'clock in the morning, this is because early humans, not even early, this is up until the industrial boom, we slept in 2 different phases. It dates all the way back from when early humans, we needed to have someone up at night to watch over things, or we needed to get up ourselves to watch things to make sure that nothing was nibbling on our toes in the middle of the night, right? But that sort of stopped during the industrial boom when we needed to conform to these societal requirements of when we do work and when we don't work, which was very annoying. Even Napoleon, the terrible human being that would schedule random meetings at 3 o'clock in the morning just to throw people off. Because we would sleep in 2 phases. We would sleep in the first sleep, and then we would wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and be up for a couple hours, and then we would sleep in the second sleep. Now, a lot of these times during that middle phase, people threw parties, they did things, they were up. Society was up. People expected you to be awake. Now, you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning because you have an unwavering sense of, hey, something is watching me, or I feel like I'm being stalked, my adrenaline is pumping. It's like one of those naps that you take and then you wake up and your heart's going a million beats a second. That's because your body has the evolutionary software of knowing that it needs to get up because you have something to defend, which is your life, because something is coming after you if you don't get up. Especially if you're alone. Oh my God, especially if you're alone. Your body recognizes the fact that you have no one to watch over you while you sleep. A lot of people have the sense of, oh my God, I feel so comfortable around my partner. This is why I can sleep so well. This is because you are aware that they are a part of your tribe. So they're taking night watch. So you are going to be okay. The same reason why humans get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go in the refrigerator and scarf down a bunch of shredded cheddar cheese in the middle of the night. This is because your body is aware of the fact that it needs to fuel up because you're about to be on night watch. It's not insomnia, it's just basic evolutionary psychology and biology. We are daytime primates. Early mammals tended to be nocturnal to avoid dinosaurs, but primates, our group, later shifted toward the daylight and developed eyes tuned for daytime vision. Humans still have relatively weak night vision, so darkness means more uncertainty and less ability to detect threats. Again, we cannot fucking see at night. But people are like, oh, we have night vision, but it's really bad. It's because we don't have night vision. We can see because we have eyes. And at night, eyes, pupils contract, dude. You don't have night vision. But you can't not see at night, but you can't see well at night. Also, did you know that bats have great vision? They have great vision. They just communicate through echolocation. I'm going to do more research on that one, but I'm pretty sure that that's a fact. I don't know if it is or not. Cancel me. Please don't do that. I love you people so much. I just reached 270K on TikTok, which is crazy, which is absolutely insane. I did not think that I was going to reach 200K by the end of December. And we're at 273.3 thousand as of the last time I just put my phone down. I'm so grateful for you. I swear to God, my community is like one of the sweetest. I have like one of the sweetest followings on TikTok. I promise you I do. I've gotten fan art. I've gotten like logos made for a podcast. People are so nice to me. People are defending me in comments. People are unfortunately comparing people that have been doing what I do, like creepy fact thing, me, which I'm not going to respond to that, but it's very, very sweet. You guys are very nice. So when your brain feels different in the daylight versus in a dark hallway or basement, it's because you always have a sense of like flight in you. But at night, it's definitely heightened because your body and your brain is aware of the fact that you are being stalked. Aware of the fact. In quotations, for those of you who are not watching this visually. Your body and your brain become aware of the fact that if you are being stalked or if there's a hidden ambush around the corner in the dark where you can't see it, you are entirely weakened, especially when you're alone at night. You are entirely vulnerable to attacks. This is basic evolutionary human psychology. That's why people have so much protection, like guns, mace, whatever. This is also a very serious danger that people now face, but we are so heightened to the fact that we need to protect ourselves because for thousands of years, since the beginning of time, we have needed to protect ourselves, most of all at night. That's why it's extra scary when you're walking alone at night. It's funny because a lot of people are more afraid of taking the trash out in the middle of the night than they are during the middle of the day. Now, it's still creepy going out anywhere in the middle of anything outside when you're alone. However, in the middle of the night, you fail to recognize that other people are also deranged, right? The people that are going to attack you are deranged. But it is our psychology that recognizes that we're not exactly fearing a person, we're fearing a being, a monster, a creature, something that our primal, ancient human brain remembers that we currently don't. Like when we have our limb dangling off the bed, let's be honest, we are not thinking like, oh, from down the hall is going to come out from under my bed and lick on my fingers. No, we're thinking, what the fuck? Like the monster in the bed. Same with how children have the primal fear of, can you check the closet? A dark area that I cannot immediately observe, and I am not sure whether or not I am protected at night in viewing my closet. This is a fear we have at night. Or, can you check under the bed? I don't want there to be a monster under the bed. Even as adults, we ask to check under the bed as children, but as adults, we're like, I don't know, I'm going to keep my feet tucked in at night. This is because we fear a creature that was real, a creature that existed in dark caves, a saber-toothed cat, a large cat, a creature that would ambush us if our back wasn't immediately to a wall in the middle of the night. This is also why our bed, we prefer facing a wall and not just smack down in the middle of the room, whether it's in the corner or just in the middle of the room, a wall. This is also why we prefer booth seats over like middle table in the middle of a restaurant. This is because we don't have 360 vision. We don't have 180 degrees worth of, and if something is behind us, we have to constantly check our backs to make sure that we're not being ambushed. People also have the presence hallucinations. These presence hallucinations are when we believe that something is behind us just because the atmosphere feels off or because we have not checked in long enough. If there's space behind you, you are automatically going to check behind you because you realize that you have not checked in far too long. Okay? If sound is slightly muted, whether it's a cabinet, whether it's a person, we are going to notice. That's why we can feel eyes looking at us, because that's our primal instinct to be like, I need to be at 180 degree watch and something is too quiet and the noise around me is being deafened. And when someone's staring at you, most of the time they're not saying anything, they're just looking at you. So that sound from that area is quieter than usual. I need to go and see what that is. It's evolutionary. Some people, you can give this credit to spirituality and like third eye, and that's how I grew up. That's how my mother raised me, with like, you're in tune with the universe, you're psychic, it's your third eye. Okay, she also raised me to believe that my sleep paralysis was me being psychic. When I would be like, yeah, I'm having sleep paralysis, she would essentially be like, yeah, okay, you can see dead people. Tell me what my dead aunt is saying right now. And I was like, okay, I feel like I need to talk to someone a little bit more qualified because there's no way I am psychic, mom. I just have sleep paralysis. The first time I had sleep paralysis, I was 14 years old and I was really sick. And I think a lot of people can relate to this. When you're really tired, sick, or stressed out is usually when people get their first sort of dose of sleep paralysis. I had it when I was really sick. I had like flu or something at like years old. And I woke up to my bedroom door being open and this tall black matter figure with like glowing grayish white eyes coming into my room, sidestepping, touching the ceiling, and then walking back out. Also sidestepping, keeping his eyes on me the entire time. I woke up, was so sick, realized I could not do anything about it, and just went back to bed because what the fuck do you want me to do about it? And that was, I would say I should have had more of a primal fear in that situation, but I realized that, they get me, I'm tired, I'm not moving, so I literally just opened my eyes, fell back asleep. Now, the reason why humans do this when we're really stressed out or really tired is just the most basic universal fear responses in humans. When our nervous system is already off, something as simple as a sudden loud noise or like we're approaching objects will trigger the automatic startle reflex. When you are afraid of a dark room in your house, or when you just scan the room, you turn the lights off, now you go up the stairs, it's dark. What is behind you? You need to have the primal fear of humans to run. And with creepy ass early humans, it was so much safer to pick up the response of, I need to go ahead and run away from this situation or fight this situation. And we are not armed when we are not prepared to fight in this situation. It is just safer for us to be safe than sorry. We are not fortune tellers. We are not that advanced. Some people are. There's some files. There's some MK Ultra projects that we won't get into in this video for obvious reasons. And we were safer assuming that a rustling bush that sounded weird or a snapped twig or something that sounded too quiet in the dark was a predator and to get the fuck away from it than to stay and eat someone's dinner, be eaten, be destroyed for game, essentially. Now, these ancient reflexes, we do share them with many other animals. They're just designed to make our body react before the thinking brain catches up, essentially. Because you need to be able to react in situations like that before you underreact. You need to overreact before you underreact. Now, monsters under the bed, like I said, psychologists have suggested that childhood fear of monsters or the boogeyman at night may echo real ancestral dangers. Predators that could attack sleeping humans, especially children. Children were not this beautiful, watched over being like they are in most societies, hopefully nowadays. Were forced laborers most of the time. As soon as they could carry stuff, it was off to the farm with you. Go, boy, carry this pile of sticks. Go make this sharp tool with your tiny little stupid hands. That's how children were viewed. Not only that, but if they were taking up too much time, or if they were wasting resources, we would cannibalize children very quickly as ancient early humans, especially because it's something that's so easily preparable because children were smaller than adult children, which we also cannibalized. So at night, this attacking predator, I think it's very safe to assume that a child was more or less a scapegoat. We did need to reproduce and keep children around so that we could keep continuing as a species. But if the lion got the child in the middle of the night, really, it was the best case scenario because child didn't do much for society anyways, according to ancient humans. One theory tied to hunter-gatherer life is that children were especially vulnerable during sleep, so being jumpy about nighttime threats could just be protective. So same with your limbs in the bed at night. Your blanket in your brain acts as false armor. It's a reason to feel protected, a reason to feel like there's something engulfing you, a safe haven, essentially. And it's falsified, but it just feels safer. Personally, even when it's really way too warm in my room, I will still sleep with my limbs all the way in something. Either my arms will always be folded under a pillow and my feet will always be covered by a blanket at the end of the bed. But no boogeyman under the fucking bed or saber-toothed tiger is getting them today. So this is just me personally. Seeing or hearing things at night often comes from how sleep threat detection systems interact. So, sleep versus predators. Sleep makes animals vulnerable, so many species in risky environments evolved shorter or more fragmented sleep to stay more alert. I told you this with biphasic sleeping. On mammals show that species with higher predation risk spend less time in deep sleep and may wake more easily to potential threats. There's something called the first sleep. When you are in a new environment, or when you have cleaned your room, or when you're in a hotel or whatever, it is very improbable that you are going into deep sleep. It is very hard for you to get to sleep. This is because of the first sleep. So when you clean your room, your space feels new, it feels less familiar, it feels less tribal and sacred and protective and comfortable, and you're less aware of what's going on around you. So it's called the first night. You will sleep in a very light sleep to make sure that nothing in this new environment is a new threat as well. Same with hotel rooms. When you're out on vacation, sleeping somewhere that you're not usually sleeping, it is the first night, whatever I just said, is the first night sleep. This is because you are not allowed to go to sleep in an environment. Your brain will not allow you to fall asleep in an environment that it is not 100% sure is safe. And when your room's clean, you're not 100% sure it's safe because it's brand new to you. And when you're in a hotel room, or even when you're on vacation, when you're sleeping at a friend's house, you're not 100% sure. That's also very similar as to why you probably woke up pretty early at a sleepover as a kid at someone else's house. Because, like, we're not in deep sleep to begin with. And now the sun is out, you don't need to be on constant guard. So you're going to be up at a friend's house, everyone's sleeping, and then you wake up and you're like, oh, damn. The most case scenario, your friend is the one who's deep asleep and everyone else around them is like what you're doing, where it's like, oh, I should go back to bed because everyone else is sleeping. This is awkward. What do I do? Do I wake up the host? Like, what do I do? This is because you're not on guard anymore. That's why. And you have no reason to sleep. It's daytime. You're aware that you need to be up. You need to be ready for anything. So you are up. Now, why weird stuff happens half asleep. During certain sleep phases, especially around REM, the brain can generate vivid images and sensations while the body is mostly still. Can blur the line between dreaming and wakefulness. This can contribute to experiences like seeing a figure in the corner, or hearing footsteps when just falling asleep, or barely waking up, even when nothing is there. Most hallucinations happen when you are in REM sleep, when you are in between being asleep and awake. And if you don't believe me, when's the last time you heard someone say something when you were just waking up, or someone woke you up to say something and you're like, oh, okay, and you fell back asleep? Your brain has hallucinated not hearing them because you are busy sleeping. So it'll go back to bed. Or your brain has hallucinated something completely different that they said, like fartick for dat, scabber, rabbited scabber, like that. And they're like, yo, you want to go to the corner store with me, get some, I don't know, pickles, I don't know. And you're like, because your brain is hallucinating. You genuinely don't know what's going on. You are way too vulnerable in that state because someone's supposed to be watching over you and you're just now coming out of REM sleep, or hearing things, or imagining conversations happening, or when you're on the phone with someone while you're falling asleep and you think they're saying something and they're not. It's because your human brain is very vulnerable during that time. Now, your ancient software doesn't always make sense in a world with locked doors and sliding. However, that is why we are still alive as a human species for the most part, and that's why we are still growing as a human species for the most part. This is because we are so evolutionarily aware of the fact that we need to protect ourselves. I did not get here, you specifically, you did not get here just out of a whim. You had to survive from the very first fucking bacteria and every single ancestor that kept its child alive enough to have you now. That is why you are here. You needed those everyday slight terrors and overreacting instead of underreacting in order to get to being alive to begin with. You have a 1 in 400 trillion chance of ever being born. So you are alive. And that is wildly against the odds. That is why you personally have that survival instinct, because every single ancestor you have ever had needed to survive in order to have you. Whether it was against a saber-toothed cat or Ted Bundy walking down the street in, I believe, the 70s. Now, the irrational fears are actually very consistent with the situations that we face and our ancestors faced. Your fear of the dark is the legacy of predators and our terrible night vision. And keeping our limbs under something or in the bed at night is just being aware of the fact that we don't have 180 vision and we can be ambushed from behind at any point, and we are very vulnerable at night. Hallucinations and creepy half-sleep moments are sleep systems and threat systems overlapping, built to keep us ready to react. These 100% don't mean that we are weak as a society. It means we are so strong that we survived up until the point where we have technology like TikTok or Spotify or YouTube. We have evolved and we have overcome so many fears. Not everybody's the same. Some people have other psychological problems that prevent them from doing other things, or being safe with themselves. I mean, I'm going to end this episode off with this. It is not fair to have an innate sense of ending things when you had a 1 in 400 trillion chance of ever being born to begin with. I've been down the rabbit hole. I have been on, this for hours. It is not fair to yourself and to every single ancestor that has ever let you survive up until this point. I'm not talking your immediate family or even your family in the last 200 years, which got you to this evolutionary point of being able to have a phone in your hands or headphones in your ears or on your ears. But the fact that since the first bacteria that landed on this big old rock in the middle of space to right now, you have been given such an extraordinary odd. The amount of people that could have been born, that should have been born, that should have lived to the point of seeing this or hearing this, that are no longer alive. This is someone your age's last day on Earth. Evolutionary speaking, we can attribute our immense amount of strength and resilience to those creepy ass early humans and these ancient civilizations that shaped us to be the way that we are today. I'm not saying it's always a gift. It's really hard to see it as such sometimes. But it is absolutely extraordinary. And it is not something to easily take for granted. You're not crazy. You're not different. You're not too weird. You are a human being in a modern world. It is fucking insane out here, as it always has been. Everyone's confused, everyone's lost, everyone feels like they're behind, but everyone at the end of the day is a biological human being. It's going to be okay, because it has been okay, and every single ancestor you have ever had has made it to the point where you being alive, so it's going to be okay. The dark is scary as shit. I still hate the dark. I don't hate the dark, but I hate the things in the dark. Oh my god. God, I hate things in the dark. I don't know what's in there. I'm not fucking with it. I keep a gun on my hip at all times. Jesus. Keep your feet in the blanket at night if you know what's best for you. And, I don't know, invest in some night vision goggles, because the saber-toothed cat's gonna get you. Have you guys ever watched The Ghost in the Darkness? Oh my god, 10 out of 10 recommend it. That was so creepy. Jesus. It wasn't creepy watching it, but the after effects of it, like my nervous being heightened, sucked ass. Oh my god. 10 out of 10 watch it. Same with Cujo. That fucked me up as a child. Now I have a fear of dogs. Thank you, Mom, for showing me that when I was 4 years old. I really appreciate it. I love my mom to death, though. I don't want any mom slander in these comments.